Today on Top Shelf Sports, we'll recap the football team's midweek matchup against Ball State, we'll preview both men's and women's basketball seasons, and we'll check in on the volleyball team's chances at making the MAC tournament. Top Shelf Sports starts now. Welcome to the newest edition of Top Shelf Sports. I'm Eric Martin.
And I'm Nicole Ryan. There was a ton of action this week in NIU sports, as we'll recap everything that you need to know.
Let's kick off with some Husky football. The Huskies hosted the Ball State Cardinals at Husky Stadium last night, trying to rebound off a loss at Toledo. After taking a 21-7 lead in the first quarter, DJ Brown takes a 6-yard run-in for a touchdown to open the scoring in the second. Later in the second, Marcus Childers connects with Mitchell Brinkman for a 5-yard touchdown pass to make it 35-7 going into halftime. After a Ball State touchdown in the third, ball on the 19-yard line, Marcus Childers throws another touchdown pass, this time to a wide-open Christian Blake. Childers won this game with 4 touchdown passes. Just 40 seconds later, the Huskies have the ball back and give it to Jordan Huff, who is on his first game back from injury and runs in a 35-yard touchdown to increase the score to a 49-14 lead. Nearing the end of the game, the Cardinals are just trying to punt it away and end the game, but the Huskies have other plans. They block the punt and jump on it for a touchdown. NIU blows out Ball State at home 63-17.
The cross-country team is set to compete in the NCAA Midwest Regional today. The Huskies will travel 9 runners to the event, including Ashley Tutt, Mackenzie Callahan, and Erica Hisber. NIU had its best finish in the Midwest Regional last season, when the team came in 9th place and All-American Hope Schmesley became NIU's first female athlete to qualify for the NCAA national race.
The Huskies men's basketball team opens their season against the University of St. Francis on Friday. NIU ended last season with a 15-17 record, but did have a winning record at home, finishing 9-8. The Huskies added junior Dante Thrope to their roster this season after transfer from Triton University. Thrope averaged 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists his sophomore year at Triton and was named 2017 first-team All-American for his division. With the loss of Marin Merrick, hopefully the Huskies can look up to Thrope to lead them to a winning season.
The NIU women's basketball team demonstrated depth and persistence this past weekend as they took a dominant 96-28 win over Benedictine University. The team took control of the game early on, as head coach Lisa Carlson experimented with a wide variety of lineup combinations. The Huskies finished with 5 players in the double figures, with Husky senior Kelly Smith leading with 18 points. The women's basketball team will start their regular season today as they travel to the Eastern Illinois University to face off against the Panthers at 6 p.m.
We were able to speak with women's basketball head coach Lisa Carlson before their season opener.
Let's send it over to Top Shelf Sports reporter Tom Burton, who caught up with Coach Carlson in this week's edition of Husky Corner.
Thanks, guys. We're joined on set now by third-year women's basketball head coach Lisa Carlson. Lisa, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Cool. So you guys are obviously starting your season this Friday against Eastern Illinois. What are your thoughts on that and this upcoming season?
Well, obviously we're excited to get going. You know, it'll be a great opportunity to step on the floor and kind of see where we're at when we get an opportunity to play Eastern. They'll be a great opponent for us to get things rolling.
So obviously you guys are moving on from a roster last year, like players like Allie Lehman and Cassidy Glenn. Like, what's it going to be like this year, kind of filling that void for those players?
Well, I think every year is a little bit different with the makeup of your roster. You know, those 2 players that you mentioned especially were integral in what we did last year. But we have some pretty key returners, a lot of talent in our newcomers, and so we're excited about the makeup of this roster as well. We'll obviously look a little bit different, but our goals won't change.
What do you think of your guys' depth this year as a team, maybe particularly in the young players?
I think that'll probably be one of our strengths, especially in the guard quarters, our ability to go a little bit deeper. You know, it was something last year that we felt like we lacked a little bit, and it may have taken a toll on us, especially later in the season. So we're going to hope to combat that with playing deeper from the very beginning.
Seems like you guys have a lot of talented freshmen with Gabby and Riley and those guys.
Yeah, I think all 3 of the freshmen that we brought in will have an opportunity to play minutes right away, which isn't always the case with freshmen, but those 3 have definitely proven that they're going to get a shot early, and I like what I see from them so far.
So obviously last Friday you guys had your way against Benedictine. What was it like kind of getting that confidence going early on for the players like going into the season?
Well, I think that's kind of what you want out of an exhibition game, is the opportunity to put a uniform on, play against somebody else, have it officiated and scored just like a real game, so that when you do put a uniform on them for the first time against a real opponent that's going to count, it's not quite so awe-striking. So especially for the freshmen or those players that maybe haven't played very much in previous years, I think it's a good opportunity for them to get their feet wet.
So it was garbage time. It felt like one of the big stories of the game when you brought in Paulina Castro for the first time, and she got, was it her first minutes or like just got her first basket, right? Okay.
Yeah, but it was one of the first couple of possessions when she had the opportunity to shoot that three in the corner. You know, that situation will be something that people talk about for a while. You know, everything that Pauline has gone through, what she's been able to conquer in the last 12 months is nothing short of miraculous. And so to see her on the court in uniform and doing what she loves to do is just a pretty cool story.
Now with Paulina, is she kind of going to get limited this year, like with her playing time?
You know, she doesn't have any limitations from a physical standpoint. You know, obviously I don't think any of us know what that kind of treatment or disease can do to your body, but I tell you what, she's been working extremely hard, trying to get back to her old form, and wherever that takes her from a playing time standpoint, we have yet to see. But just having her a part of this team, what she brings on a day-to-day basis inspirationally, is something I would never want to go without.
Definitely will. We enjoy having her back, and we enjoyed having you on set here today, Lisa, and we appreciate your time.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, guys, let's send it back to the desk.
One of our reporters got the chance to play a game of pig against a member of the women's team before their season opener.
Let's see how Scott Nickel fared against the team's outstanding guard play.
Here I was, minding my own business, just about to shoot some hoops on Victory Court, when all of a sudden, Janae Poizon from the women's basketball team shows up and decides she wants to shoot some hoops too. The only problem here is there's only one ball. So we decided to play a little game of pig to see whose court it was. Janae started out by draining her first shot. Then it was my turn. Brick, I get a P. Then Janae goes old school with the granny shot and drains it again. I channel my inner Rip Hamilton, give it my best shot, air ball. Janae takes a commanding PI to nothing lead. Then she gets tricky with a little behind the back layup, so now I have to make it to keep the game going. And lo and behold, I pull it off! It goes in! And I am pumped. Then it was my turn to try to make some moves. I go with a little reverse layup, and Janae answers back and makes it look easy. Then Janae calls for a right-handed layup, which is my kryptonite. And I go for it anyways, but I miss, and I'm devastated. The miss secured Janae's victory and her court for the day. Being the good sport I was, I shook hands and went on my way. For Top Shelf Sports, I'm Scott Nickel.
The men's tennis team will wrap up the fall portion of their schedule at the MAC Indoor Championships this weekend. Last weekend, the team competed in Cleveland State Viking Invitational. Huskies were led by seniors Greg Lundquist and Eric Marbach, who both reached the singles semifinal round. The three-day MAC championship event will begin today and continue through Sunday in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
The volleyball team will be looking to bounce back this weekend in their last two games of the season. Both of these matches are must-win games, as the Huskies dropped to 9th place in the MAC standings after losing to the Central Michigan Chippewas and the Eastern Michigan Eagles last weekend. They're one game behind Central Michigan, Western Michigan, and Toledo for 8th place in the standings, which would qualify for participation in the MAC tournament. The volleyball team hasn't missed postseason play since 2002, which would head coach Ray Gooden's first season with the program. The team will face the Ball State Cardinals Friday at 6 p.m. and the Toledo Rockets Saturday at 7 p.m. at Victory Court.
Joining us now at the desk is the Northern Star beat writer for the NIU volleyball team, Kobe Price.
Hi, Kobe. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Kobe, last year the volleyball team won the MAC title, and now they're just fighting to get into the tournament.
Right.
What do you think is the cause of this?
I think their two biggest things were that they lost a lot of seniors. They lost 6 seniors, including 2016 MAC Player of the Year, Jen Araki. And they also lost 4 of their top 6 leaders in kills. Their offense sputtered. They struggled to start the season, even to an extent they are now. And with the new players, they're just young, inexperienced. They're trying to adjust to a faster game, against stronger players, faster players, and they just are mentally trying to understand how to adjust and physically adjust to this new game that they're playing on the college level.
Okay, so you just mentioned this tournament. Do you think that the Huskies stand a chance of making it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't love, but I like their chances of making the tournament. They play Ball State and they play Toledo, 2 teams they've beaten earlier this year already. So I like their chances, and even Toledo, I don't like their chances of making it because they have to play Western Michigan and NIU tomorrow. So I do like the chances a lot.
Speaking of the tournament, the chances they do make it, so they're in, they got the 8th seed. What do you think their chances are of advancing in the tournament?
I don't love their chances, don't even like their chances of advancing, I'm going to be honest.
Come on.
They play some very good teams that they've beaten, but it's also teams that they lost to in the first round. If they were to make it, Buffalo, Western Michigan, Central Michigan, and Toledo be the most likely first round matchups. But if they do find a way to face maybe Western Michigan or even Toledo or even Central, they could probably move on. If they go against Ball State, who they've beaten already, there's a good chance that they could advance further, but I don't love those chances.
That's better spirit.
Better spirit.
Great, so stepping away from like the whole tournament talk, you mentioned earlier that this team is really young. Do you think that the team can rebuild and become back to their former glory?
Absolutely. They like this freshman class, even though they're young, they're actually pretty good. They have Kaylee Martin, outside hitter. She's 3rd in the MAC and kills per set with 3.72.
Wow, that's amazing.
Jenna Rackey's little sister, Joy Rackey, is on the team as an outside hitter too. She's been stepping up her play a lot, getting more playing time. She's 3rd on the team with kills per set. And Miranda Carlin played a significant amount of time. And then they just signed 3 new players to come in next year.
Oh, wow.
A setter and 2 middle blockers in Grace Barnlisfer and Ange Gromos and Jasmine Kemp. So the future is bright for the Huskies. I do believe that they'll return to their former glory.
Glad that the future is bright. Thanks for joining us, Kobe.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
After the break, NIU Athletics fundraises for student athletes. We'll tell you more.
The Bears are coming off their bye week, and we'll find out which student athlete's small stature is making a huge impact in this week's Leader of the Pack.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. Heard about the scarecrow who won an award? He was outstanding in his field.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
I love it.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. Yeah. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Men's wrestling will continue their season this weekend at the Eastern Michigan Open. The Huskies are coming off a solid performance last Saturday in the Iowa State Open. The team was led by redshirt junior Price Gorman, who claimed an Open Division Championship title for the 184-pound weight class. The Eastern Michigan Open competition starts at 9 a.m. this Saturday in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
NIU Athletics is asking for assistance to support student athletics and future developments of the program.
Top Shelf Sports reporter Crystal Megan has more on the story.
NIU Athletics is in the midst of its Week of Giving initiative that they call Huskies Invest. The goal of the initiative is to raise upwards of $100,000 for continued support and costs of attendance, scholarships, and advancements throughout the program. TJ Fierbach, Associate Athletic Director for Development and Revenue Generation, said there are more reasons why the campaign is trying to raise money.
And we also have a couple other projects that are kind of projects of mine, whether it's a nutrition center that runs about $150,000 to finish up for our student athletes, or the video project, which helps benefit the basketball, soccer, and volleyball programs here in the Convocation Center.
Cost of attendance for students provides room and board, books, and other outside resources to student athletes. Sean T. Frazier, Associate Vice President and Director of Athletics, said he expects to reach the $100,000 goal and said this was a good time to hold the Week of Giving.
You know, we've been dealing with some significant adversity from the state around resources given to higher education. So it's clear that we have need. It's also clear that we've had significant amount of success in all of our sports. So to be able to sustain what we currently have and to take it to the next level, we're going to need external dollars.
The administration also receives a lot of support from within for their student athletes. Men's basketball coach John Borovich said Huskies should support each other.
That's what we do as members of the athletic department. We greatly support our student athletes, the athletic department as a whole. We try to represent the university in the best way that we can.
The initiative has currently raised over $75,000 and is looking for your support. For Top Shelf Sports, I'm Crystal Megan.
You can still help donate to the program at www.niusustain.com or the NIU Athletics official website.
I don't know about you, Eric, but I'm so excited for the Bears versus Packers game on Sunday.
I am too, because the Bears are the favorite and they're going to wreck the Packers. Let's send it over to the Sports Hub, where reporter Austin Hansen has more on this rivalry matchup and the latest in national sports coverage.
Thanks, guys. Well, let's get right into it. The Chicago Bulls took their talents to Toronto Wednesday night as they looked to snag a victory from their Eastern Conference foes. Bobby Portis made his season debut after serving his suspension, and he brought the juice early on by hitting a three late in the first. The Raptors caught fire in the second half thanks to a flurry of baskets from star DeMar DeRozan, and this putback by Kyle Lowry. Chicago would not go away as Portis got his Olajuwon on to bring them within three late in this one. With the game winding down, DeRozan would hit a tough fadeaway spin shot to secure a 119-114 Raptors victory. The Bulls will look to bounce back tonight when they host the Indiana Pacers at the United Center at 7 p.m. Patrick Sharp and the Hawks headed into the city of brotherly love to face off against the Philadelphia Flyers. There was no love for Chicago as Patrick Sharp made an ill-advised pass, which resulted in the Flyers' opening goal scored by Claude Giroux. Hawks' Connor Murphy gave Chicago some life in the second period by scoring a goal to get the team within two. Chicago tried and tried again to get back in the game, but the Flyers goalie Brian Elliott shut them down by stopping 36 of 37 shots he faced as the Flyers beat Chicago 3-1. The Hawks will try to avoid losing 3 straight games as they will head into Carolina to face off against the Hurricanes. The Bears will look to beat their century-long rival, the Green Bay Packers, at Soldier Field this Sunday at noon. Bears were on a bye last week and got some well-needed rest. The Monsters of the Midway are coming into this game having won 2 of their last 4 games, and the Bears are 5-point favorites over the hated Packers. This is the first time they have been favored over the Cheeseheads in 9 years. Chicago's defense is playing well, coming into this game ranked 8th in the whole league. Akeem Hicks and the rest of the front 7 will look to make life difficult for third-year quarterback Brett Hundley. The Bears have not beaten Green Bay in Chicago since September 27, 2010. Week 10 of the NFL season is approaching, which means every team has played at least 8 games so far, making today the perfect time to give a mid-season update. The Pittsburgh Steelers are at the top of the AFC with a 6-2 record. The defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs aren't far behind the Steelers, with each team having 6 wins on the season so far. The Titans, Jaguars, and Bills would round out the rest of the playoff picture. On the NFC side, 12 of the 16 teams are either at or above 500 on the season. The Philadelphia Eagles, behind the exceptional play of MVP candidate Carson Wentz, have an NFL best 8-1 record. The current NFC playoff picture would have perennial playoff contenders, the Dallas Cowboys and the 2016 NFC champion Atlanta Falcons, missing the cut. This past Tuesday, news broke that shook the whole entire sports world. Roy Halladay unfortunately passed away in a plane crash. The two-time Cy Young winner was flying his single-engine aircraft when it wrecked into the Gulf of Mexico. Halladay's fans will remember him for his baseball heroics and his postseason no-hitter against the Cincinnati Reds, but to friends and family, he is remembered for the great man that he was. Roy Halladay was 40 years old. And that is all from the Sports Hub. I'm Austin Hanson. Back to Eric and Nicole at the desk.
Thanks, Austin. Hey, Eric, have you noticed a little bit more pep around campus?
I've noticed a little bit of happiness.
Well, the NIU cheerleading team is finally able to compete nationally again, so strong leadership is important to keep this team focused.
Top Shelf Sports reporter Mateo Avila caught up with the cheerleading captain for this week's Leader of the Pack.
NIU senior cheerleader Macy Miller has proven that big things come in small packages, as she has taken on a leadership role with the cheerleading team this year. Coming off a rough year that saw the team lose their coach mid-season, Macy stepped up and took on a coaching role while also being the captain and club president. But despite all that tumbled on her plate, Macy stresses the importance of team friendship.
I do a lot of things in practice and outside of practice, constantly checking up on people, just seeing how things are going. I feel like we're not only just cheerleaders on the mats, but we're friends outside of here.
The team is now giving up to compete nationally again after having to drop to a lower tournament last season. Through extensive practices and routines, this team is becoming more in tune and synchronized with each other. And new head coach Aubrey Gaglione is thankful that Macy helped keep the program alive.
I don't know if the program would even be in existence without her. I want to say she's like the cheer mom. She's always on top of her game. She always has she's the one that always has Advil or Band-Aids or anything like that. But Macy has definitely kept the program together.
As a senior, Macy has experienced just about all there is to experience with NIU cheerleading, and she is looking to pass those experiences down to her younger teammates. As the team gains more chemistry and trust with each other, the goal becomes more and more clear.
In general, our first goal was to become a club. So after we've become a club, now it's just fundraising all the time to go to nationals, because last year we went to a nationals, but it was Can-Am Nationals. It's a little smaller, and in the past years we've always gone NCAA. Our freshmen last year didn't get to experience it, and my one goal is to just make sure that everyone that hasn't had the opportunity to see it sees it.
Macy's will to keep the cheerleading program alive, as well as pass down the cheerleading experience, leave her this week's Leader of the Pack. For NTC Sports, I'm Mateo Avila.
You can catch Macy and the rest of the NIU cheerleading team in the end zones and on the sidelines cheerleading during all the major NIU sporting events.
Coming up next on Top Shelf Sports, we'll discuss a record-breaking night in the Octagon.
We'll give you some sleepers you should keep an eye on in fantasy this week. And guess what? We'll also show you the always exciting top 5 plays of the week.
What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys, preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them.
honey. I'm ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
UFC 217 was billed as one of the more exciting events of the year. And did it deliver what, Eric?
Well, we're about to find out as we throw over to an unusually speechless Adam Carr for this week's MMA discussion.
What was that? That may be the most insane night of fights I have seen inside the UFC's octagon in years. Now let's not waste any more time. We'll get right to the first title fight. First-time title challenger and grappler Rose Namajunas faced off against women's strawweight champion Joanna Jędrzejczyk. The grappler was having success in the first and shocked the world by dropping her opponent with a short left hook. Jędrzejczyk recovered, but shortly after was nailed with another left hook and planted. Now the fight goes down to a TKO victory, and Namajunas takes her first title in a completely unexpected and exciting manner. And that was just the beginning, as the bantamweight strap was on the line between Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw. Right at the end of the first round, Garbrandt absolutely rocked TJ with that hook right there. Dillashaw was saved by the bell as a knockdown occurred late in the round, but the second chance was all Dillashaw needed. In the second round, he dropped Garbrandt with a high kick early on, then stunning him with a counter right hook, jumping on Garbrandt and putting him away to regain his title he lost to Dominic Cruz. And after that, we still have a main event left, with the return of one of the greatest UFC fighters ever taking on the middleweight champion Michael Bisping. Now, George St. Pierre started off the first looking strong and arguably better than he has in 6 years or so. He was able to outstrike the champion Michael Bisping and get him down a few times in the first round with his unstoppable double leg shot. After the first, GSP looked tired with the extra weight he was carrying, and Bisping capitalized. Now, the count was landing early at will over the next 2 rounds until GSP landed a thunderous right hand to the jaw of Bisping, dropping him and leading up to him taking his back and choking him completely unconscious, becoming only the 4th man to hold 2 belts in the UFC. Now, Dana White has already announced the next step for the new champion, GSP, is interim champion Robert Whittaker, and I have to say, I don't like the prospects for GSP here. He looked a tad slower and a little bit worse cardio shape, likely due to the extra weight, and while you can get away with that against Michael Bisping, Whittaker is a killer in a completely different league. I think St. Pierre will have his best future back at welterweight, his natural weight class. But either way, congrats to GSP. It's good to have you back, man. I'm Adam Carr, and this has been your MMA discussion. Let's toss it back to the desk.
NASCAR was in Texas last weekend with 2 races left in the playoffs, and there's only 1 spot left in the Final 4.
Let's drive it on over to the garage where Brandon Morocco has more.
Thanks, guys. NASCAR headed to Texas last weekend, and after the race, there's only 1 spot left in the Championship 4 in Homestead. So let's head to the track and see what happened. On the first lap, Kyle Busch got loose and got into Brad Keselowski. The pair had to come down pit road to make unscheduled pit stops to repair the damage. Busch was already in the Final 4 from his win 2 weeks ago at Martinsville, but as Keselowski was fighting for a spot. Busch went down 2 laps and Keselowski only went down 1. Kyle Larson had the lead in Stage 1, but couldn't hold off a charging Kevin Harvick. Harvick passed Larson for the lead with 15 to go in Stage 1, and then he held on to win the stage. In the second stage, Larson got the lead back after the green flag pit stops, and then won the stage. Larson had led 69 laps in the first 2 stages. In the third stage, just like so many other intermediate track races this season, it was Martin Truex Jr. who had found his way to the front. Truex led a race-high 107 laps. With 40 to go in the race, it was red flagged after Kyle Larson spun and caught fire. After the restart, Truex was pulling away, but it was Kevin Harvick who was gaining on him. Harvick had caught Truex, but all day it was the bottom line that was the fastest. Truex hung to the white line, but Harvick couldn't find a way to get around him. Then the opportunity Harvick needed came with 10 laps to go. The pair caught lap traffic and Truex lost the handling of his car. Harvick was able to get around Truex and then pull away. Truex could not catch back up to Harvick, and Harvick won the race. With the win, Harvick advances to the championship round in Miami. But Truex also advances based on points alone. So this weekend, NASCAR will be in Phoenix for the final race before the championship race in Miami. Brad Keselowski fought back, and he has now a 19-point lead over Denny Hamlin. The drivers below the cutoff line will need Keselowski to have a bad race, or they're just going to have to win themselves in Phoenix to advance. So this is it. If a team wants to win the championship, they're going to need to have a good race this Sunday, which is going to make it a very exciting one to watch. From the garage, I'm Brandon Morocco. Now let's send it back to the desk.
Thanks, Brandon. Now it's time for the best plays in sports where you might see some Huskies using teamwork.
I hope so. Let's send it over to the always enthusiastic David Sivia for insight on fantasy football sleepers and, of course, his top 5 plays of the week.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to the top 5 fantasy players to watch for this week. First off, let's get it started with the quarterback position. LA Rams, Jared Goff is the quarterback to keep an eye on this week. Coming off a 4-touchdown performance, Goff looks to keep the heat up while playing. While he lacks the ability to throw it deep down the field, Goff is a specialist for working sideline to sideline, finding his targets. I like Goff's chances this week. At running back, we have the hottest player to come off the waiver wire this season, Alvin Kamara. The New Orleans Saints running back may be splitting carries with Mark Ingram, but Kamara gets plenty of looks in the pass game to make him a must-start from here on out in your fantasy season. Finally, we'll take a look at the wide receiver position, and Golden Tate of the Detroit Lions really stands out over the last few weeks. Tate has double-digit targets in the last 6 games and is averaging 7 receptions over the last 3. Look for Tate to go off against the Cleveland Browns. Now, that's all we got for fantasy right now, but let's jump over to the top plays of the week. We got some doozies for you. We go into the top 5 plays, and let's just get it started right here at number 5. We go to Chris Tapps Porzingis' block party. Cody Zeller got not 1, not 2, but 3 personal invitations. At number 4, we hit the gridiron is smoking Jay Cutler. Airs it out to Devontae Parker, who gets the swifty with it, channeling his inner Odell, coming down on the knee to secure the catch. Man, look at him hold that one in. At number 3, Kyrie Irving is putting the entire Laker defense in a blender with the relentless attack to the basket. Speed and handles is a deadly combo when you're Kyrie Irving. He gets to the basket with ease. At number 2, the Cowboys roll out the prevent defense. No touchdowns needed, but the fastest man on turf has plenty of other plans. Tyreek Hill puts the Cowboys defenders out of reach. You know, there's a lot of them there, but not even one person could get his finger on Hill as he scores and finds the end zone. And at number 1, last night's game, Ball State tries some trickery with a reverse lateral, but the NIU defense snuffs it out quick and gets the pick. But it's not over there, as there's a game of hot potato going on, lateral galore as NIU keeps the momentum going to get the ball up to the 40-yard line. The 40-yard line may not be great, but it's number 1 in our eyes. A great effort by the NIU defense. That is all that I have for you for this week on the top 5 plays. We're going to send it back over to the desk. Thanks, guys.
So that's all for Top Shelf. Thanks for watching. Top Shelf Sports is produced and directed by students here at Northern Illinois University.
For more on Top Shelf Sports, look us up and like us on Facebook. Be on the lookout for our various podcasts on SoundCloud. You can also check out our Twitter site at @topshelf_NIU to keep up with the latest sports content. We'll see you next week, and as always,
Go Huskies!